Okay. So the mathematical operators are known as these mathematical symbols are known as operators, whereas the values that you use with them on the using which they perform the operation, those values are known as operands, and operators and operands together form what is known as expression. So if you can see this, are here 2, 3, 7, 5 and 6, they are operators, whereas uh, multiplication sign plus negation and again the multiplication, these are operators, others are operands, and together they form what is known as mathematical expression. Okay, fine. Now in this we also saw five types of operators, where plus stands for addition, minus stands for subtraction, this asterisk symbol stands for multiplication, single forward slash stands for division, and this percentage symbol, which we won't be calling percentage, we will be calling as modulus operator, is used to obtain the remainder. In that case, we saw if you are multiplying dividing 23 by 6, the modulus operator will result in 5. Whereas if you multiply, if the divisor is greater than the dividend, just like here, 7 mod 9 will give you 7, 3 mod 8 will give you 3. However, when divisor is greater than dividend, in that case, where dividend is greater than divisor, in that case, you know the normal procedure, and after obtaining the quotient, the value by which you are going to fall short is the remainder. So we saw all these things. Next we discussed about various types of memories in your computer, and in that process we extensively discussed about what is known as the memory is divided into two types: primary memory or the main memory, and secondary memory. Okay, and primary memory are of two types, RAM and ROM, whereas secondary memory includes your pen drives, hard disk drives. Therefore this hard disk drives, this is the reason they are known as HDD. If you see hard disk, they are known as HDD. That full form is hard disk drives. Okay, then memory card, etc. Now going forward, you have so we know in the primary memory types we have RAM and ROM. ROM stands for read only memory and RAM stands for random access memory. Again, what are the features of what is the basic work of ROM? Just to help your computer start up or boot. It enables your computer to start. Okay, once the computer is start, further on whatever memory or whatever the program will be executing, I'm not saying will be stored. Why? Because whatever is stored and is not executing or running at any given time is there in one of your secondary storage devices, mainly your hard disk. However, when you start running any program, just like songs, movies, your games, even your web browsers like Google Chrome, Safari, Firefox, all the such things, when you double click on your hard drive, a copy of it will be brought to your main memory, and that too specifically RAM, from where CPU will start reading the lines of codes of that program. Okay, and then that thing will be going on running on your computer till the time you close it or its own work is done. Okay, so in such cases, those programs running on your RAM at real time, those programs are known as processes. Anyways, so this was the basic idea about your memory units. Then we saw generally what does 4 GB RAM means. 4 GB RAM, you can imagine RAM of being made of small boxes internally known as bytes. Okay, so when we say, and bytes, these bytes are the small storage units. Okay, where you store your data, even when you are writing your programs, etc. We'll be seeing in depth today further how to store your data and all in RAM, etc. Okay, so when we say 4 GB RAM or 8 GB RAM, what do we mean by that? 1 GB means we have seen 1 GB stands for 10 to the power 9 bytes approximately. So if you have 4 GB RAM, that will be 8 into 10 to the power 9 bytes. So this many boxes or this many bytes will be there in your RAM, which can store data. And all the programs which are running on your computer, they occupies the sum of the spaces of these available memory blocks or bytes in your RAM. Okay, so this is what we had covered in the last class. Now moving ahead, okay, so that we can start forward ahead in our next topic, move on to our next topic. So are we all good till this point? Just let me know so that I can move.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now today we are really going to see some of the important concepts. Ajay, you tell me one thing. We saw last class something like printing, we know, right? For example, this thing, no, mathematical operators also we have seen somewhere. Let me see if that is, yeah. So we saw we can find the result 2 plus 3, just like arithmetic operators, and that too should be, when you are concatenating, that should be enclosed within simple brackets. So these things we saw. But can you tell me any of the drawbacks that you can find in this program? Drawbacks in the sense, the program is not, of course, not incorrect. It is not having errors. But can you think think of something which is not that good and desirable in this program?
So we like the third sum, like 2 into 3. Like when we want to bring like 2 into 3 by 2. So again we need to, like, if we save the value of 2 into 3 in a variable, then it will be easy for us.
Okay, so I think you have, from somewhere you have acquired the knowledge of variable. I am not using those terms, but yes, what you said
we learned it last year.
Acha, last year, good. Your concepts are good. So what I am saying is, the problem with this approach is using mathematical and arithmetic operations inside print. So the problem with that approach is that if you want to later on in the program, if you want to use the value of this 12 minus 3 or 2 into 3 multiplied by 3, if you want to use this expression, the result of this expression ever again later on, let's say here, okay, for some reason, you will again have to write 2 into 3. Let's say for this case you will write, because it is a small expression. But let's say you are writing some very complex program, especially let's say you are working in some of the good departments like DRDO, ISRO, or even meteorological departments, even NASA, who knows. Okay, so let's say that you are computing some really complex calculations, okay, and you are performing there in the program, and some expression involves like 2 multiplied by 3 divided by whole into something 689.987, okay, then into 45, and it goes on and on. Okay, so will you be copying this thing, writing every time again and again, and then finding the expression? That doesn't seem to be a good idea, right? Because unnecessarily. No, hey, wait, I don't know what is loop as of now. Okay,
that's more time consuming.
That will be very time consuming. Let's not go into loops and all. We'll be seeing them at the appropriate time. Okay, so the problem here will be, you cannot reuse the values of expressions that you are printing inside system.out.print or system.out.println later on in the program. And if you want to use that value, you will again have to write the entire expression, which again has to be computed, and then it can be reused. So that is again one of the drawbacks of the program. So wouldn't it have been wonderful if somehow we could have stored them somewhere so that we could reuse their values? Okay, so here with this background, we are going to start with one of the topics known as variable and their use. So I'll just read out what I have read. Just try to follow. Okay. Printing the result of mathematical expressions in print statements has its limitations. Let's say you need to reuse the result of an expression sometime later in the program after printing. then you would again have to compute the result and print again. Okay, so that's something which you won't be comfortable with, and that will be time consuming at the same time, right? So that is one of the limitations of using mathematical expressions inside print. To overcome this problem, a mechanism was devised so that we may store the result of various mathematical expressions or even a separate individual value in so that we can use them again and again, or you can say in order to use them again and again during the course of the program, even the later on. So in almost all the program, not almost, in all the programming languages, they devised the mechanism of somehow storing the values, okay, storing the values or the result of any mathematical expression or anything, or even the messages that we are talking about, that is strings, using this technique to some place and then later reusing the value from that place. Okay, so we will see what that technique is. Okay, so to overcome the problem, a mechanism was devised so that we may store the result of various mathematical expressions or even separate individual values in order to use them again and again during the course of the program. To do so, we store these values in memory locations of the computer. So see what we do exactly. Let's say, for example, okay, I'll read out this. To do so, we store these values in the memory locations of the computer. And what are the memory locations? Because we are working on the program and we will be writing, we will be executing it. So where these values should be stored? They should be stored in RAM, because you are going to execute it on real time after compiling the program. So of course, you will be storing the values in RAM, so that if we need to use these values anytime in the program, we can access these locations and fetch the values from the memory locations. Why do we store the values that we require or result of the expressions in RAM locations, in RAM? So that in case later, if we need to use those values, we can simply look up into the RAM and we find what value is there and then fetch the value from there and use it. Okay, so that is how we are going to store the values. This is the basic fundamental. Of course, we will be seeing how to do that in Java. Okay. It is these memory locations that we refer to as variables that contain values. See, even the students who have passed, okay, your 10th standard, and even some students in the graduation level, they are very confused with the definitions of variables. Okay, most of them, if you ask, of course, I'll be explaining the meaning again in very deep. Okay, if you ask them, if I write a is equals to 2, let's say roughly, we'll see what is a equals to 2. You know what they will say? A is the variable. No, a is not the variable. We'll see. We'll just see. Okay, neither the 2 is a variable. None of them is a variable. Okay.
Sir?
Yes.
So RAM, comma, Y the primary memory.
RAM is one of the types of primary memory.
Oh, okay, sir.
I'll just scroll down to the, see, RAM is one type. See, computer has two types of memory, primary or the main memory. So primary memory is further of two types, RAM. So RAM, can you say that RAM is the primary memory of the computer?
You have given RAM, comma, primary memory. So that means RAM and ROM.
Okay, I'll just clear it up. Don't worry. I'll specify it in a better way. A type of primary memory. Now, is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, we'll see what this. Just give me a minute. Okay, sorry, I had a call. Fine. So we'll see. We'll see how do we store values that we need to use later on in the program. So how this is done, I'll first explain you in the form of a story, and then we will actually see how Java does it. Okay, or in Java, how do we do it in the form of a program. Okay, so for example, just consider a scenario where, let's say, using Java program, you want to compute the sum of two numbers, that is 2 and 3. That is, you want to find the result of 2 plus 3. So what are the operands here? 2 and 3. And you have to find the sum. Then using the logic above, we will store the values 2 and 3 and the result 2 plus 3, that is 5, in separate memory locations, so that they may be fetched whenever and wherever required in the program later on. So how do we do it? So you understood the scenario. There are two variables, or not two variables, rather two values, okay, 2 and 3, and these values 2 and 3, you have to find the sum, and then later on you compute the sum 5, and that result also you need to store in a third memory location. So how do we reserve the memory location, and how do we proceed in doing so? So visualize now. So okay, in separate memory locations, now visualize as below. Let's say you have 2. So that 2 we will store in one of the memory locations of the RAM. Rather, if I write to be more precise, one of the available RAM locations, some locations may be filled by some other programs. So one of the available, okay, one of the available memory locations of the RAM. Now let's say we will ask computer, hey computer, I need from one of the I have heard you have got 8 into 10 to the power 9 boxes or bytes. Okay, can you give me one of the free spaces so that I can small one very little value? Computers, being your very humble friend and servant, they will say, fine sir, I have got some few boxes, okay, which are available, I will give you one. Okay, so computer will provide you one box, okay, and then you will put that value that you need to store in that one of the available memory locations in the RAM of the computer, so that later on when required you can go and fetch out from them. So once the computer gives you the one of the memory locations or the bytes or one box or block, you will put that value, and the next step is you will name or label that location by giving any name, let's say X or A or B or anything. Okay, why naming is necessary? Can you give me a reason? Can you think of any reason why this naming of the box is necessary? Where computer provides you.
Specify more values, and we can't know which value will be what and where it is stored.
Okay, yes, somewhat correct. So, brother, you are correct. I'll explain it in a more simplified manner. Okay. Let's say you have a warehouse. You are an owner or maintainer. Let's say you are working for a company XYZ, and that company has given you to maintain, let's say you are a person, okay, and you are the person who looks after one of the storehouses or warehouses. Warehouse, you know, where you keep your and store your stuff. If you are a businessman, okay. Warehouse or godowns you say, or storehouses you say.
Yes, sir.
Let's say this is a warehouse, and you are an employee of a company, let's say XYZ or XYZ. Your owner, one day, your owner comes, the person who is owning your company, and you are working for that person, okay, or you can say the owner of this company XYZ comes and gives, and let's say one more thing. This warehouse has, let's say, many small boxes. Okay. It has many hundreds and thousands of small boxes or small lockers, okay, in it, and they are identical in each way. These boxes, which are empty, are identical in every respect. Even the colors, the size, the dimensions, the shapes of all the boxes are same. Now the person comes, the owner of the company, hands you over, let's say, some of the precious items, it can be jewelry, documents, whatever, gives you a package containing something and says ki, see, because you are maintaining this warehouse, what you do is I am giving you some package, you store it in your warehouse in one of the boxes. Let's say it is this box is this package is containing some jewelry or something. Okay, the person comes and gives to you, and you will say, okay boss, and the person will say, I'll come back later. For now you store it in one of the available boxes, and later on I may come after 1 week or 1 month or 1 year even, and whenever I may need it back, and I'll ask for you, you give it back to me. You will say fine, no problem, I'll store it for you, and then he leaves. Okay, what you do is you go and in one of the boxes randomly, let's say you were on a call and randomly you went inside and put that thing in one of the available boxes among the 1,000 boxes, and you came out. Okay, you did nothing, you simply kept it, closed the box, and you came out. Let's say after 15 days, 20 days or 1 month, the person comes back again and says, can you just hand me over that thing that I gave you to keep it safely? Now you will get inside the warehouse, but you will be confused. Why? You don't know in which box you kept that item, because all boxes are looking same. That day you casually kept it, but then you did not mark it or label it, and it will be very difficult among 1,000 boxes, and the person is waiting outside. Okay, I am giving you 5 minutes, you go and fetch the box. Now, will it be possible in a matter of 5 minutes, if you are not super lucky, like you make a guess and that happens to be the box containing it. Okay, if you are not having the day of your life, it will take no less than, let's say, 1 hour, 2 hour maybe to look for. You will be opening each and every box and will be looking, is it containing the item, is it containing the item. Okay, because all boxes look the same and you forgot in which box you put the item. So it will be very difficult to look for the item. So did you understand this scenario? Okay, whatever I said. Okay, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So this was the case. So now, had this person been intelligent, what this person could have done rather, the person could have simply went and while keeping itself at the first place, the person could have gone there, and after keeping it, the person could have marked it with any label. Let's say a marker he or she could have taken and marked it with any label or a name on the top of the box. Now, the next time, if the person, let's say if the person had done that, if the next time if he was asked to fetch that item, he will simply get inside and look for that label, and that will relatively take very less time, and he will be able to give it pretty soon back to the owner or the person who gave him or her the item to keep safely. Okay, that is the same way your computer works. Let's say if you are asking computer to give you any box to store the value, or any of the bytes or the boxes available in the memory, that is the RAM, to store the value 2 or any other value, the computer will give you box. You will store the value, and then computer will wait for you to label it. It won't allow you to leave without labeling it. Okay, it will give you error. So 2 things you need to do in order to store values in one of the memory locations of the computer. The first thing is, you will request for a memory location, computer will look inside its RAM, it will give you one of the available memory blocks or the bytes that you say, you will put the value in it, and then you will label it, you will give it a unique label which has not been assigned to any of the boxes till now. Is this concept clear? What is the mechanism of storing values? Of course, we will be seeing how we will do that in the program. So is this mechanism clear? How do we store values and request for memory locations from the computer? 2 steps.
Yes, sir.
Requesting memory block and then labeling it. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Then Similarly, because we have this scenario, or the problem was 2 and 3 had to be stored in two different variables, memory locations, and then finding the result 2 plus 3 and storing it in another third memory location. Okay, so that we can fetch all the three later on if we need. So similarly, first value, you will request computer, please give me one of the available boxes so that I can store my first value. The computer will give you will store 2 in it, and then you will label it, let's say A. Next time, then you will ask for computer to another memory location, you will give another value, let's say 3, and then this label computer will apply, you will again give a second label to it, and let's say you will, now you have two separate memory locations having one value and another value having separate labels A and B. Now, next you will perform the addition 2 plus 3. Whatever result will be there, you will request for the computer to store the result of this in another memory location. Computer will give you another free memory location, third byte, and then in that third box or the byte that computer gives you, you will store that result, and then you will apply another new label to it, let's say C. Fine. Now, we have done this theoretically. How exactly to do that in Java? So in Java, now follow me what I am reading. So in Java language, the same thing can be done by using memory locations to save the values and results of mathematical expression. This process of reserving memory locations and saving values in them is known as creating variables. So what is creating variables? What do you mean by creating variables, if somebody asks? By creating variables, we means requesting for computer to give you some space in its RAM so that you can store your value after labeling it. This process is known as creating variables. Now the question will come to your mind, what are variables? It is these memory locations that we call as variables. So here, this box, first box containing 2, second box containing 3, and third box containing 5 will be 3 separate variables. Okay, so here this box is one variable, this box in the computer's memory is another variable, this box in computers, third box in computers RAM is another variable. So you have created 3 variables after labeling it. Okay, so how do we create? Now we have understood how do we store values by creating variables. And what are variables? The memory, separate memory blocks used for storing the values that you have requested. So those memory locations are variable. Let's say you have understood the concept. How do we write the code to do the same? Okay. So how do we create variables in Java language? Okay. So you create variables in Java language. Okay. So by doing these things. So before you can create Java variables in Java language, Java needs 2 information from you. Okay, these 2 informations till the time you provide to Java, it will not reserve or it will not provide you memory blocks from the RAM of the computer so that you can store values into the RAM of the computer. Okay, so what are the 2 informations that you need to provide to Java so that it can give you one memory block? First thing is what type of value you will like to store in these locations. See, if you want to store here, what is the type of value that you want to store? What is 2? It is an integer value. What is 3? It is another integer value. What is 2 plus 3? That is 5. It is another integer value. You may have different types of values. Okay. So types of values, like I have specified, types of values can be of the following types. So here you can see you need to tell Java what are the types of values that you are going to store, what is the type of value that you are going to store in that memory location. So first, the values can be either of int type, float type, string type, double type, whatever. Okay, so there are many other, but we are going to focus right now on these 4 values that you have seen. So let us understand. The first type of value is known as int. What is int? It is used to specify integer values. Then you have float and double. There are 2 different types of values specified separately. Okay, but both of them somehow work the same way. I'll tell you the difference between them, but not now, in some time. Both of them are used to store numbers with decimal points. Okay, so if you want to store 10, 15, -5, etc., such values you need to specify as integer types. If you want to store values with decimal points like 4.5, -6.0, 7.3, -7.3, etc., then you will declare that you are going to store either float or double type. Both will be equally good. What is the difference between these? We will see in a bit. Okay, let's say in next 15-20 minutes if possible. So in order to tell your computer that you are going to store pure integers, you will say I need int value. In order to tell computers that you will be storing in that memory location some numerical values with decimal points, you will say computer I need either float or double type. If you want to say store some messages in the computer or some English like sentences which are enclosed within double quotes, those things you will say that I want a value of string type. So these can be like hello, or let's say how are you, etc. So such values you are going to, if you have to store messages or in proper technical terms, that is the sentence, English like sentence or strings, you will say that I need to I will be storing the string type value in the computer's memory. Okay, so is this thing, what is the value type, clear to all? We are simply saying what type of value, whether it is an integer or a number with decimal point or a message like message in the form of English language, you are going to store enclosed within double quotes. Depending on that, you will specify computer before reserving memory locations for storing value. This is the first information that computer will be requiring or Java will be requesting. The first is the type of value, and the second information that computer expects you to give so that it can give you a memory location is the name or the label that you will be putting on that memory location. Okay, is this two part clear? What are the two values? What are the two things computer needs to know before it can give you one empty box so that you can put value in it? Okay, first thing is what type of value you will store in it, and second thing is what is the name, what you are going to call that memory location, what name you are going to provide to that memory location, or what label you are going to provide that to that block or memory location. It will not ask you for what value you are going to store. Be very careful. It will ask for type of value and not the value itself, that you will provide later once it has given you that memory location. Okay, so it will only ask for the type of value and not the value itself. Okay, so these two information you have to provide to the computer before computer can give you one of the boxes from its RAM, okay, called variable, okay, so that you can store values. Is this concept clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about you, Sarvmay? You have been quite, is it clear? You can type it also, okay, so that I can understand that you are getting the things here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Fine. So now how do we provide computer using Java code about these two informations? So in order to do that, what you will write? You will write this sentence, int a. Let's say computer needs two information. So computer needs two information. So using code, we provide those information, those infos as follows. Okay, so what you are going to write? you are going to write like int a, and you know all the non-comment statements should be terminated with semicolon. That we have seen in the very first class or the second class maybe. Correct? So if you write this single line, computer will do two things for you. Computer will understand you are requesting for one of the boxes from its RAM, okay, available box from its RAM. It will give you that box, okay, will understand that you have promised that you will only be storing integer in it, and so you have provided type of this deals with here. You are telling the type, what type of value, telling the type, and here if I may use another color, okay, here you are informing the computer what name you are going to give or label. Okay, so computer will understand कि you are going to store integer values in it, and you will be naming it as what? A. Computer will understand, and then it will give you one location known as A, where you can use integer values. Let's say if you want to store decimal values in it, what will you write? You will write either float, you can give any name, you can even give XYZ without space, float XYZ, or you can write double. Yeah, because we saw two different types are capable of storing decimal values, so you'll write double ABC, any of these. Okay, for now I'll tell you only one thing. For our purpose and for the sake of saving memory, we should try to use float values, float type as far as possible, because a double location consumes more space. Okay, so till the time you are very sure you don't need a lot of space for one single value, then you will use float. Okay, for most our learning purposes, float will suffice. Okay.
So for integer, we have only one type. Like
we have no. Of course not. We'll be seeing further types of integer. You have big int, small int, byte. Okay, but let us understand most commonly used type for specifying integer values. We will of course be going into what are different types for storing integer. Okay, so now you may ask if one int is sufficient to store integer values, why not have only one? The reason is, if you need very small number, you will use tiny int or a small int data type. That will consume relatively less space. It will give you let's say 2 boxes is required for saving one int value. So if you write a small int, computer will only give you one memory block. Okay, so for the sake of saving memory, there are different types within the same category. We'll come to that later. Just now you think one int will give you one box, but actually that is not the case. We will further clarify later. For now you understand these are the only data types that is existing, which is of course incorrect, but for the sake of simplicity and understanding, we'll be following this logic as of now. Okay, so in order to request for one memory location, you will write int, which will tell computer that you want the type, you are going to store type int, and whatever follows after it will be the name of that location. So two values you have given, computer will be happy, it will give you that location. Similarly, if you want to store a decimal number, so you can use either of these. Okay, either of these is sufficient to store, give you one memory location which will be sufficient to store number with decimal bytes. Either of these can be used. Okay, either of these can be used. If you want to store a message, you will say string, let's say X. Now computer will understand. You want a memory location, want to reserve a memory location, okay, which will store some message which will be enclosed within double quotes, and it will be known as X. Okay. So did you understand how to reserve memory locations in the computer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in case of doubt, just stop me right there. This is the best time that you have. Okay. Fine. Oh. Okay, right. Now, what we are going to do is, just a minute. What we are going to do is, we have got the memory block for saving the value. Okay, we have that memory block for saving the value. Now, value we have to put, how to put the value inside it. Okay, because now you have got one empty box which is reserved to store whatever type of value you want to store. Okay, let's say you have to store 3 in computer's memory location. If you want to store 3 in a new memory location, what will you do? First you will reserve a memory location.
So int A.
So 2 steps will be there. First step is reserve a memory location by specifying type and name. Okay. Second is put the value in it by accessing that memory location. How do we access? How do you look for that stuff in your warehouse?
So by going around and searching. And
searching for that name or label that you gave?
The variable.
That memory, let's say in a warehouse, how do you search for your stuff? By looking for the label you put?
By the label or the variable name.
Label or the name of the location, which is the name of the variable. Okay, so name, label. See, this name and label is also known as identifier because it identifies that memory location. Okay, I think I made one spelling mistake. Okay, fine. By accessing that memory location, and more correct term for the memory location will be variable. Okay, using its identifier or the name. So how do
you access?
Yes.
So how do you access it?
That's what I am saying. Using its the name of the label that you put. I'll show you. So how you will do? So you will write. First step can be done like you have to store 3. So you will write int A after colon. How do you say you have to store 3 in the memory location identified as?
So A is equal to 3.
Correct. This will solve your. This will correspond to your step 1 above. Don't write this part that I am writing here in the program.
Yeah.
Step 1 above.
So we have done all this in it.
You have done no worries. We are going from the very grassroots. we'll be covering these things in next one or two maybe 1 week. Okay, because there are many things you will be learning now. Okay, and then next line is a is equals to 3. This will say, this is step 2 from above. What does it say? Go to the memory location, or variable that you say, go to the memory location of the variable named as A in the RAM and insert value 3 in it. Now, computer will internally what it will do? It will first of all go look for the memory location in the RAM labeled as A. It will find it and then will store 3. But before storing 3, okay, before inserting 3, it will ensure that it is of the same type that you promised. If not, what it will say? Error. It will give error. Okay. So, in between, however, I'll write before storing 3 or the value, before storing the value, I'll write 3 is for this case, value in the variable or the memory location, computer will verify whether the variable is capable of storing that type, capable of storing that data type or the type, that type of value. Type is also known as data type, so don't get confused if you come across that type of value. You got the concept? Is it clear? Just have a look at it and let me know, all three of you. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. Now, okay, Mehul, suppose you have done. Okay. Mehul, suppose you have done.
Yeah.
Let me know what is the correct terminology for the first statement.
This first statement.
This reserving thing.
INTA.
What is it called in the terms of computers?
I don't know. Maybe it's a condition.
It's not a condition.
We only learned that.
Okay, no. I'm not pulling you up for anything. I
Right.
thought you must be knowing. That's why I asked. See, never take my words in a negative sense. I always motivate people. Okay, fine.
So specifying data type.
This entire thing, int A, there is one technical term in computer programming language, or in Java also. This first line is known as, I'll write some different color. This line is called variable declaration statement or variable definition statement. Understood? Why? Because we are declaring a variable, declaring to the computer that I want a variable of this specification, that is, which will be capable of storing integer type and its name will be a. So you are declaring to a computer, or you are defining in the computer the variable of, or the memory location of this nature. Understood? Why is it called so?
Yes, sir.
Now this second statement, I'll choose another color for that. This second statement, where you provide the value in that memory location which you just reserved in the above line, that is in the variable declaration line, in that memory location, the statement that puts the value in it for the first time, okay, remember, for the first time, not the second and third time onwards. For the first time, the value that you are providing is known as variable initialization. Okay, initializing means to giving a starting value, right? You say initialize. Initialize means to initiate, to start. So to give the starting value, when you are giving the value for a variable declared just, okay, or when you are specifying the first value inside the variable or the container or the memory location you reserved, that first value, putting the first value will be known as variable initialization statement. Is it clear, the technical name for these two lines?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we are good to go. So how do we write this program of adding two numbers in computers? Okay, Acha, before we move forward, one of the very famous questions of the interviews is, which many people still till this day fail to answer after graduation in your college campus placements. Acha, these two things, variable declaration and initial, before I come to the question, these two things, just I'll mark up here. Note that variable declaration or definition statement okay, declaration or definition statement can be combined with initialization statement, variable initialization statement, okay, to form a single statement. Okay, so let's say you can write it like this. You have written int a, and then next line a is equals to 3. You can combine the both variable and declaration and definition statement in a single line. Example will be int a is equals to 3. Got it? That is also possible, right? Fine. Now one question from me, a very simple one that I just asked few moments also ago. In the statement, let's say I do something like, if I have to store decimal values, float x is equals to 4.3. Which one of these is a variable?
So both of them are variables.
Huh?
Both will be variables.
So 4.3.
4.3.
Yes,
So,
sir.
no, x is the variable. Sorry, I didn't understand the question properly. X is the variable.
X
No,
is,
sir, x is not the variable because we can change x value whenever we want. So 4.3 is the variable.
okay. So one of you think is x is variable, two of you think is 4.3 is the variable, and one of you think is x is the variable, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the definition of variable? Can you repeat?
So it's
It's a
something that
storage unit.
No.
Yeah.
of a
Okay, wait. I'll just scroll up to the section where we were discussing. The process of reserving memory locations and saving the values in them is known as creating a variable. And it is these memory locations that we call as variables. Right. So now can you again, after looking at that statement, will you like to change your answers? Or will you
No,
stick
sir.
to your answer?
I'll stick to my answer. It's X.
Stick to my answer.
Okay, so all of you are sticking to your answers.
yes, so 4.3 is the answer.
4.3, okay, fine.
X.
X. The answer is, in this line we don't have variable at all.
Eh.
Why?
How is it
It's a
possible?
very tricky question.
No, it's not a tricky, it's a fundamental question which appears to be tricky if you don't go into the roots. Why is none, now if I have told you that none of them here is a variable, can you tell me why? I'll again scroll up to the definition.
So because we haven't told that X is a float value.
We have told float x equals to 4.3, we have written.
Yeah, but we just told float X is equal to 4.3. We did not declare.
No,
X as
in
float.
that statement, if you remember, I am combining the declaration and
So you can combine
initial.
both.
In the single line, we are providing both the things, values as well as declaration. So that is not the issue. I'll come again. See, you are not getting the concept of variables till now.
So we have not reserved the value, that's why.
No, without reserve, we have done everything. Okay, declaration and initialization has done, that means variable is created. See this line. We very particular with this line. What are variables? Variables are?
The memory location. That means float is the variable.
No.
Float is a data type.
Correct. Now you are getting. Slowly. Float is you are telling float XYZ. What does this mean? I need to reserve a memory location computer where I will be storing the type float and which I will be naming as XYZ. So what is XYZ? A label or a name. What is float? The type of value you will be putting in that memory location. Correct? These two data
Yes, sir.
you are providing here. Okay, so now let me dissect this statement. This is, I'll write the here. What is variable here? Okay. Float is data type or type of value or type of data that you are telling computer that you will be storing, where in the memory location named as this. So this
X
is
is
name.
identifier.
This is name, label or identifier. Whatever you say. The correct term is identifier, technical term. Okay. This is what?
Data.
Actual value that you want to store. Value or data of type float or double. Okay, actually this statement won't work. This will give you error. I'll tell you later why. Let's say I'll replace this. Actually this statement will throw error. Don't go into why it will throw error. We'll see it later. Okay, I'll just correct it to more appropriate question. Fine. Don't go into why it will throw error. I'll tell you later on in few classes. So let's say if I write this thing, so double will be type of value that you are promising computer you will be storing in the memory location, which will be named or labeled or will be identified by this identifier X. This will be the value of type what? Double, because it is decimal number is having decimal point, and equal to is your assignment operator, which instructs computer to store this value into the memory location labeled by what? X or identified by X. So it is assignment operator. Right. So now we can see none of them is variable. Now can you answer me what is variable? This is a very fundamental
the whole
question.
thing a variable.
No, whole thing is a statement. Is a statement. Array, variable.
Because of x is equal to 4.3 is the variable.
No, nothing. That is a part of the statement. Array, variable is a memory location present in RAM. Okay, which X is pointing to.
Oh,
Understood?
yeah.
That is the concept. Variable. Okay, that's a very fundamental concept. People go wrong here only. So which one of them is a variable? Answer is
Nothing.
none is variable. Variable is not represented above. No, rather
And what is a variable here?
I'll tell you.
Nothing is the variable. X is just pointing out
Variable
to the
is not represented above. I'll tell you why.
X is just pointing out that okay, this is
Present
where the
above.
variable
I'll
is.
tell you what is variable. See. So what is variable? Variable is in RAM. Okay. In RAM, the box where that value will be stored, that box is the variable. It is in the RAM of the computer and is not present in this line. How do you reach that variable? By using this label. How do you access it? So this X is pointing to a variable, okay, which is of type double, okay, and storing the value 4.3. So which one is the variable? This thing. Variable cannot be represented in code because it has its existence in RAM of the computer. It is a memory block, right? This memory block is a variable. If somebody asks which one is the variable in this line, you say variable is not there. However, we have here X, which is pointing to that, or which is labeling to that, or which is enabling us to access that memory location. That is X. So variable is memory location towards which X is pointing. If somebody asks you what is variable, the memory location in RAM towards which identifier X is pointing. Now tell me, did you get the concept of variable?
Yes, sir.
All of you? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Good. So from this day, many people get stuck. Most of them say X is variable. No, variable cannot be represented as a line of code. Why? Because it has its existence where? In memory location. It's just like if you go to a hotel has many rooms. Okay. We say room number 101. But is 101 is the room actually? No. It's a name of that room. And where is that room? It is actually there inside the hotel. Correct? So this X is just a label of that variable. So variables cannot be represented in the line of code. However, the name of the variable is mentioned in the line of code, which helps us accessing that location. And so where is variable? Variable is actually present in the RAM of the computer, which is pointed out by the identifier which we use inside our code. All clear till now? Shall we move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now we will see one code for exactly what we have done so far. Let's say, let me see. Okay. So this is the same program that we just saw, or we have seen in this or a whiteboard. 2 plus 3 is equals to 5. How computer does it? I have explained it using multi-line comments and single line comments just before each statement. So now Can you merely by looking at this line you tell what is there, what we are doing here? See, we need three memory locations, one for storing the first
like
number.
the data type of each value.
This is the actually variable declaration statement where we are reserving three memory locations having the names or identified by names x, y and z, and we are telling computer in those memory locations identified by x, y and z we will be storing only integer values, right? So hey computer, reserve three empty memory blocks which are known as variables in your memory. I'll write here what is that memory. RAM, and label them as x, y and z. I also promise that I'll only be storing integer values in them. Okay, that's what the following statement does, and this line is also known as variable declaration or definition, variable definition, correct? Now next, when you have got the value, when you have got the empty boxes labeled as x, y and z, you will start putting in values there, right? So your next two statements does what? Giving the first values. Okay, so next two statements search for the memory locations x and y and inserts the integer values 2 and 3 respectively into them, right? Into those memory locations or the variables. Okay. So these two lines are what? Initialization. This line is also variable initialization.
So can't we combine both?
Yes, you can. That's not
Like int x is equal
correct,
to 2,
correct.
comma y is equal to 3. You can do that.
That of course you can do. Generally in good programming practice, for this is learning stage you can do, but if you see the software level codes, they avoid that thing, combining.
Why?
It's a global practice, good programming practice. Okay. So they tend to keep everything separately, declaration separately, as a convention, as a practice. Okay. Though you can follow it, nobody will stop you from that. But good programmers generally don't prefer that. As a habit you can say. So variable initialization. This line is also variable initialization. Now, in the next statement what you are doing is x and y, you are finding the sum of x and y and you are getting the result, and then that result is being stored in the memory location or the variable identified by z, and then you are printing it out. Okay, correct? Let's say I'll comment the further lines. We'll come to that later, what I have done in the further lines. So what I'll do is I'll run this program in this state. Okay, so let me clear it out. Sorry. Okay, so we'll write Java C, that code is code 9, right? No error, it will compile. If there is error, it won't. So no error, dot class file would have got created, and then we will be using that dot class file by not writing extension. So you got the result as 5. Okay. Now, so this statement what it does is it finds the sum of the two things, two locations symbolized by x and y. Okay, replaces those values, computes the sum, and then stores it in z, and then you are printing z. Program is solved. Now let us see another important concept. This also even very good, you can say undergraduate students who are doing their engineering, they also make mistakes there in this concept. Let us see. Let's say if I write I'll choose black. Okay, let's say I'm writing a program int x, same program, y, z, x equals to 2, y is equals to 3, z is equals to a plus b, right? And then I print. I'll write in short system.out.println. You should not write that way. Okay, z. So what this program will do, it will give you the output as 5, correct?
So, but there's no A and B, right?
That will,
So there's no A and B. Z is.
oh,
equal to
okay, sorry, that should be x and y, my bad. I wanted to write x and y there. Now fine, it will give you 5, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now let's say after that I do this, x equals to 6. What will this line do? This line will, can we call this line as initialization?
So declaration.
Declaration is the creation of variable. This line is only declaration. So can we call initialization? Initialization is what? The
Only
giving.
the first time you can call.
Only the first one is called. So this cannot be called as initialization. Okay, so what this line will do? This line will look for the memory location identified by x, will go there and will put 6. So what will happen to the previous value? Because this line resulted in creation of a variable memory location or a variable having 2 and with label as x. So this will be, label will be x. What will be done?
To be removed.
It will be removed and overwritten. Okay, so earlier value will be lost. Okay,
Yes.
and right, earlier value will be overwritten with the new one. Can we do x equals to 6.2 here instead of 6?
No, sir.
Because we'll be breaking our promise. We already informed that in x we will always be storing int. So the computer doesn't like breaking promises. Okay. So this value will be overwritten with a new one, that is 6. Now again in the next line, suppose if I write, now take 30 seconds. Okay, meanwhile I'll have some water. Take 30 seconds. Tell me what will be the output of this. I'll be back. Okay. Any idea? Any guess?
Sir, I think it will come the same answer because we not again put z is equal to x plus y.
Okay. We have not put again z is equals to x plus y. So you are saying that value will be
Same.
same. Any other
So
answer?
the data will be the same in that variable box.
Okay. Any other answer? Merul,
Sir,
what is your guess?
sir, will you please go back to the board?
Okay, I'll go back to the board.
Z will become 8.
Z will become
8.
8 when you replaced
Yeah.
x with 6.
No, not 8, 9.
9. Okay. So we have got two answers. One is it will remain same and another one says it will become 9. Any other answer? No. Okay. Well, the answer is it will remain same. Okay. Why it will remain same? Let us analyze. What I said is this line is key. Okay, so this line is key to your answer. This does not mean, see, when you write z equals to x plus y, z does not store, or any variable or any memory location does not store the expression, what expression, which is to which it is assigned to, does not store the expression assigned to it. Rather, stores the result of the expression. Okay, so it will store the result of the expression. What does that mean is, when you do this, what will happen in the background? We'll visualize it. A memory location will be reserved by the computer using in the first line. Three memory locations will be reserved, or rather, let me do step by step just below it. Let's say we give line numbers to different lines. Okay, let's call this as something line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, line number 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so now we will see step by step behind the scene functioning. Okay, we'll see step by step explanation. Okay, so first line will result in the first line will result in the creation of or reserving of 3 memory locations named as x, y and z, and we have promised we are going to store integer in all. Okay, this is the result of first line. So this is what? Declaration. Of 3 variables or memory locations, or reserving of 3 memory locations. Second line, what it does is it initializes x to 2, x to 2, as a result of which you can visualize it as memory location x having the label or identifier x will get the value 2, and 2 will be inserted inside it because it is of matching type. Expected value to be put was of integer type, and yes, 2 is of integer type, so this will be done. X variable, x label or identifier. Third statement will do the same thing for initializing of y to 3, same thing, 3, which the memory location with the label y will get the value 3 inside it. Okay, fine. Fourth statement is z is equals to x plus y. This is the last discussion for today. Fourth statement is z is assigned memory location identified by z is assigned, I'll write the full, memory location, or in true sense variable identified by Z is assigned, very important what I am going to write next, assigned the result of mathematical expression I'll write in the brackets, remember, not the expression itself. It stores the result of the expression and not the expression itself. Okay. Is assigned the result of the mathematical expression, what? X plus y. X plus y. Okay, so this will have the effect of memory location identified by Z having the value the result of x plus y. First result will be calculated separately. Okay, how the result will be calculated? You have written x plus y. It will look for a memory location identified by x. It will go here in the RAM. It will find the value from it. So internally this will be changed to x. It will look for x. Internally x will be replaced by, before the value is put here, x will be replaced by 2. Then it will go and look for memory location y, and from there it will fetch the value, and then that y will be replaced, and then this mathematical expression changes to 2 plus 3. Then the CPU will solve it using the laws of mathematics, that is plus, or using the operator. It will arrive at 5, and this 5 then finally goes into this. So this together will be acting in the background. Okay, if I point it out, I'll write it. This will be acting in the background step by step. You won't come to know. So what we have seen, the way this block won't enclose x plus y. No, x plus y won't be enclosed. After substituting the values from the memory location internally, then arriving at a single result, that result of the expression, mathematical expression, is stored here. Okay. So the result of the mathematical expression will be stored here, which will be 5. Now in the memory, next you are printing it, printing 5 on the screen. Next line, the value stored in variable identified by Z on screen or your monitor, which is also known as at times console. So that will be the effect of line number 5. Okay, it will go and look for the memory location Z. It will access that memory location using the identifier of that memory location, that is Z. Okay, or the name of the memory location Z. It will find that the value there is 5. It will display the result 5 on the screen. Sixth step, what you are doing is you are overriding the value stored in variable identified by Z identified by x with a new value, what, 6. Okay, so in this statement, statement number 6, you are overwriting the earlier value identified by 6. Now what will happen in the background? This will result in, it will look for a memory location identified by x. Okay, so in the memory location identified by x, it will go there, it will find that 2 is there already. Okay, you can see 2 was there in that location already. It will rub it and write in place of that what, 6. Okay, so finally it will look like here, it will look like, finally after overwriting, it will be, x will become 6. Okay, here 2 was stored. Fine. Seventh statement, what you are doing is, you are trying to print z. You are accessing memory location or variable identified by z. So now if computer will look into its RAM in the memory location identified by z, what will it find? 5. Okay, z has not changed, though you changed x, but remember, because z did not store the expression but the result of the expression, so x plus 5 was not saved in z, rather 5, after calculating, substituting values, and at that time 5 was computed and 5 was saved. So because even later on, if you see, z will be having what, 5, which contains 5, hence 5 will be printed on the screen. So here, thing to keep in mind is not, though we changed x, the value of x changed, the value of x z was not modified, as z contained the result of x plus y expression and not the expression itself. Is this clear? Just analyze for 20 seconds and let me know, then we can wrap up for the day.
Understood, sir.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All of you?
Yes, sir.
What about you, Sarvamai? Okay, good. Fine. Okay, so it's clear to you as well. Fine. Okay, so we'll stop here, and will next our class will be on, like we have fixed, tomorrow. So what tomorrow I might conduct class a bit early, in case I think somewhere around I may prepone the class to, let's say, 1 hour before our scheduled time, 1 or 1.5 hours. We may start somewhere around 4:30 on Saturdays. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. No problem. Then let's wrap up. Have a wonderful night. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
the test.
Yes.
So about the test, when
Test.
I wanted the
Test will be not tomorrow, of course, and I'll be sharing maybe next Saturday. See, I'll be sharing one assignment before I take a test. It will be having some around 14-15 questions. I'll be sharing that assignment. Once you solve that, okay, the moment after you solve that, then only we'll be having test. So most probably next Saturday we can keep it, so that you have enough ample time. The questions will be very fundamental, objective test. I'll be sharing the link of the test, and it should take you not more than let's say 30 minutes or 35 minutes to complete that test. Okay, so don't worry about it. Keep revising my whiteboards that I am sending, and if you need to refer, you can refer back to the videos, and of course I am always approachable. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll close the recordings.
Thank you, sir.